A protege of yours with this whole NWA IPW feud. You guys have been talking a little bit, but the only ones currently holding gold for you right now are the Shane Twins, probably the premier tag team not only in Florida but in the entire independent wrestling scene.
The Shane brothers, Mike and Todd, are the best tag team on the independents today. Forget about the independents. I guarantee you they are the most cohesive and the best working tag team in the business today. Mike Sullivan, the heavyweight champion, how many times over?
3 times.
3-time champion, led to the ring by Ecstasy, and yours truly, the hardcore giant, Jet Jaguar. We've had our ups, we've had our downs. But when it comes to the feud with the NWA, the hardcore giant, 911 Incorporated, Jet Jaguar, and even you, Aaron Royal, we stick together and we're going to fight till the very end. The NWA IPW feud is just getting started, but I got business that I have to deal with. Quickiemart. Yasser Arafat Jr., Agent Steel, thinking that they're going to come in and take my tag team titles? Are you kidding me, Aaron?
Well, I don't know, Ron. I tell you, Quickiemart, they haven't been together that long, but they're one of the most popular tag teams here in the wrestling scene in Florida, and I have a feeling that what we're going to watch right here, they're going to give the Twins at least a run for their money. So fans, right now, let's go to it. It's for the IPW tag team titles, the Shane Twins defending their belts against Quickiemart. All right, fans, here's a match we promised you. You see outside the ring there, he calls himself the voice of IPW. He's Shannon Rose, and you can check him out every week right here in the Tampa Bay area on 10:40 a.m. for Pro Wrestling Weekly from 7 to 8 p.m. He always has great guests. He's had Ric Flair, he's had Disco Inferno, he's had all the big superstars, not only in the independent scene, but from all over the wrestling world. He hosted with Barry Horowitz, that's Pro Wrestling Weekly. But you see coming out right now with you, there you are, Ron Nemi. Oh, talk about this.
That's the unbelievably
Lame?
very important and sickeningly lame certificates that NWA Florida presented us since they had to melt down their belts to pay for the rent at the Homer Hesley Armory last time. They don't have belts like IPW. They're not a top-of-the-line production. Howard Brody went and spent 37 cents a piece and gave us 2 certificates, and we're forced to carry them around like we're supposed to be proud. Give me a break.
Yeah, no, I guess you guys aren't necessarily the tag team belt holders. You're the tag team paper holders of NWA Florida. So let's not forget that, fans. We failed to mention it earlier. Not only are the Shane Twins the IPW tag team champions, but they hold the NWA Florida gold as well.
They are the Florida Unified Tag Team Champions. And you see Quickiemart, you think they'd come to this match and take it seriously, but they have Mark Zoe parading around like he's Ron Nemi at ringside, and then they got the amazing masked Mexican luchador Bob acting like he's Ecstasy. This is a big joke. This is a big joke to Quickiemart. This is an opportunity that comes once in a lifetime, and they're gonna blow it.
I tell you what, Ron, it seems to me that Mark Zout and Quickiemart did their job, because I was talking to him in the back. It's not that they weren't taking you seriously, they just wanted to get inside your head. And I'll tell you, Mark Zout does a hell of a Ron Nemi impression, I must say. You may not liked it, but you gotta admit, it got the fans going, it got Quickiemart riled up. Ron, they weren't not taking you seriously, they tried to get inside your head, and apparently it worked.
If Mark Zout's gonna impersonate Ron Nemi, he better quit hitting the Quickie-Marts and all the hamburger joints and all the bars drinking his beer. He needs to get himself in fine, unbelievably 100% physical conditioning program like the hardcore giant himself, Ron Nemi.
Not to mention the stretching machine that you get on each and every week, and we must say, we're all proud of you, Ron. 5'6" and 1/4 and growing. That's the hardcore giant, Ron Nemi.
You're getting on my nerves with the short jokes, Aaron. It's starting to get real old, and I'm sure the people at home feel the same way.
I don't know. People never get tired of making fun of Ron Nemi from what I understand. But let's take a look at this match right here. Quickiemart, all of a sudden, taking it to your boys, the Shane, just early in the match. But they've come out quick, fast, and hard. And I don't think the Shanes quite expected this much right at the beginning from Quickiemart.
The Shane brothers are just playing possum with Quickiemart. The Shane brothers like to wrestle. Don't get me wrong. They're not going to come in there and hand somebody a victory. They're not going to come in there and just waste the time of the fans or Ron Nemi. They like to work. They're Malenko trained. They like the competitive spirit. They like the action in the squared circle. The Shane brothers are going to give you what you pay for, and that's an incredible wrestling match.
That's true. Not only here in the tag team scene in Florida, but absolutely all over the country, all over the world. The Shane Twins known as one of the best cohesive tag team units that there are. I have to agree with you there. But Ron, I got to ask you something. First of all, who's in the ring now, and how the hell do you tell them apart when you're out there at ringside? Like if they blame each other and say, I didn't do that, he did it. I didn't do that, he did it. What do you do?
That's obviously Todd, Shane, and Mike is on the outside of the ring. I'm not going to sit here and give my secrets out. This isn't like Thunderfoot 1 and 2. This isn't isn't like the Galaxians 1 through 7. This is the Shane brothers. If you can't tell them apart, I guess that just makes it easier for us.
That's true. That's definitely an advantage they have. You've seen it in the past in tag team wrestling. But I must say, Ron, they may not necessarily be they're Win 9-1 Incorporated, so we know that they don't necessarily follow all the rules. But one thing I have to say, they win their matches based on talent. I haven't seen them do that old Killer Bee switcheroo gimmick very much.
Well, you know, we took a page out of the old famous tag team, the Twin Towers, Akeem and the Big Boss Man. Sometimes when the ref's back is turned, they do what they gotta do. They switch. And how the hell do you tell those two guys apart?
Well, Big Boss Man had on a uniform, and Akeem the African Dream was an African dancer, but that's beside the point. But speaking of Akeem the African Dream, I hadn't seen moves like that in a long time, but Jet Jaguar really impressed me with his dancing skills the other night in Ybor City.
Well, obviously, if you were impressed by the dancing skills of Jet Jaguar, you haven't never seen my dear friend Skandar Akbar cut a rug.
Oh, but I have. I just forgot to mention him. But speaking of Jet Jaguar, he's very heavily involved in this NWA versus IPW feud as well. He just had a heated confrontation with Lex Levitt and Rod Steele, and the issue between those guys is far, far from over. And I'll tell you, Jet Jaguar's always been a little bit crazy. Okay, here you see the...
Star Stevens once again. Week after week, month after month. Hey, is there a tag happening behind my back? I'll just act like maybe there's nothing. What's wrong with this guy?
Well, he was trained as an NWA official, as you know, which is subtitled Lazy Booking 101. So they never taught him to turn around when the bad guy tries to come in the ring, that they're probably being double-teamed or some other shenanigans going on the other side of the ring. And I'll tell you, Star, we may not like him, but he is the senior official here in IPW. Got his start down in Puerto Rico a long, long time ago. Harley Race versus Carlos Colon versus Bruiser Brody in that brutal three-way mud match that nobody likes to talk about anymore. But now he's here as the senior official in IPW, and you see one of the Shanes giving a big, big, long suplex to Quickiemart.
Who said that they don't like to talk about the crazy mud match that Star Stevens was refereeing? Actually, I thought he was conceived in mud. I got the word, I just got everything confused.
I don't know, Ron. I'm never sure when you're being serious and when you're just trying to rib me here.
Star
I guess it's because you're always
hey,
talking up at me.
Hey, listen,
but there you see the tag by the Shanes again.
You're starting to cut me off there, and it's really starting to, it's just something that gets under my skin. When I'm talking about Star being one of the famous mud babies, I can't say it without laughing, but it's true. He's one of the mud babies from the 60s. Born, conceived, right there at Woodstock. It's a beautiful, peaceful thing. Star, we love you.
I'll tell you, if Star was born at Woodstock, he's looking a little rough. But there you see Quickiemart. They got the fans behind him. They're trying to go for the quick tag. And you see Agent Steel used to be a totally serious wrestler, and he can definitely take it to you in the ring. But it looks like he's taken after his partner Yasser Arafat Jr. a little bit there. You see the double drop kicks. What's up with the green hair?
I have no idea. You know something? It doesn't matter if they're coming out here with green hair. It doesn't matter if they're coming out here with Quickiemart shirts on and Mass Luchador Bob.
Oh, there
and
you
Mark's
go.
Out. These guys are taking it to the Shane brothers, and I was very, very concerned in this matchup, and rightfully so.
Rod, I want to ask you the question I get asked all the time. You just saw one of the Shanes there miss a drop kick. People want to know, how come when you miss a drop kick and you fall on your back, then it hurts?
It's the same reason that when you give a fist drop and the guy moves, for some reason it hurts more when you hit the mat compared to his cranium.
I see. That's just one of the mysteries of the squared circle, I guess. Ron Nemi, I think you know, but just as always, you're keeping it under wraps. You may have taught some people everything they know, but you never teach them everything you know.
I never teach anybody everything I know. Never. Star Stevens hasn't been taught anything. There he goes, missing it
there
again.
He goes. He's not even in the screen. Come on, Star. Get in the action. You know what to look out for. Ringside, for crying out loud. Oh, gold in 911 Incorporated.
Star's too busy trying to score some funny at ringside, and there's a beautiful reverse neck breaker by the amazing Shane brother number 2.
I told you couldn't tell them apart.
I can tell them apart.
Who is it?
Mike.
See, we can't tell. It just faded out.
Thank you, Mr. Editor.
They've got Yasser Arafat Jr. No, I'm sorry. It's still Agent Steel down there on the mat. And obviously at this point, he's been taking a beating for a long, long time. You can't tell because he's in there with the Shanes because they're just massive. But he's a huge, huge individual as well. But he's just being pounded on and just totally thrown to the mat like a piece of garbage there by one of the Shanes.
I was thinking more like a sack of potatoes.
Well, that's very possible. I had to try to think quick there. There you see referee Star Stevens. He is doing his job there. He's checking to see if the guy wants to submit. But this isn't 1978. I think you're going to have to do a little bit more than that to get the victory here in IPW.
Star's just marking out because he's seeing the crossboard, a surfboard, or whatever they call this. What do they call that thing nowadays?
That's a surfboard, I do believe.
See, Star is a very, very famous surfer back in Venice Beach. So for him to see this move is like nostalgia.
You know, he was there when Fonzie jumped the shark.
He was?
Yes, he was.
Very amazing. Back to the match.
There you go. I'm sorry. I missed that near pinfall there. I was too busy drooling over the luscious B.O.B. But here you see the Shane twins back in action. Who is that in the ring now? Is that Todd? Is that Mike? Is that Barry Shane? Willie Shane? Who is that?
That's actually Agent Steel taking a beating from the Shane.
You don't know who it is either!
I know exactly who it is. That's Todd, I think.
And you see, look at ringside, look at all the green shirts. Those are all Quickiemart fans, and a lot of times fans, you can never underestimate what having the crowd behind you can do. Quickiemart not nearly as experienced, and here goes Star Stevens missing the big ref spot again. It's called, what are you doing, Star? You think you would have watched the last 3 weeks of shows when we're talking about it, for crying out loud?
He gotta go talk to my good friend Danny Davis, former member of the Hart Foundation. Sure, he was a very, very, very established wrestler, but a fine manager, referee, and I believe he ran the popcorn stand very well from time to time, too.
Yes, he did.
Beautiful move!
Much like our own concession boy here in IPW, you'll have to get your start somewhere. Let's see if Agent Steel can take advantage of having the Shanes down. He should probably not go for the pin himself. He needs to get the fresh man in there. You see Mark's out at ringside as Sir Ronald J. Nemi the Fifth.
That's fourth. Hardcore giant Ron Nemi.
No, see, he was making fun of you. So and he had 711 Incorporated because of the whole Quickiemart deal.
I missed that.
I'm surprised you didn't get that, but you were too busy looking at the B.O.B. just like all of us.
Unbelievable. These guys are out here again, but you see Yazzer. He might be out here having fun. He might be out here trying to get in our heads, but when it comes down to it, he wants the gold. He wants the Florida Unified Tag Team Championship. And here he is with a backdrop on the Shane.
And here you come, Ron Nemi. What is this? You missed with the briefcase, and there, you're taking it for your troubles.
Oh.
Big DDT, and I know what that feels like, courtesy of Sir Ronald J. Nemi IV from way back in the day. It doesn't feel good when you get dropped on your head, and I'm just kind of enjoying this right now, to tell you the truth.
Oh yeah, you're enjoying it. Here I am sitting here with a bruised lumbago.
Ronnie, really what are you doing? That's what you and Phil were doing last night when I walked in the room. You said you're just practicing. What's going on here?
I always thought that move was vicious, but taking it myself and Star is trying to drag my carcass out of there. I'll give the guy credit. He tried to help me from getting maimed any further. I'm still injured from that. My medulla oblongata is never going to be the same, Aaron.
After taking it 24/7, as they're now calling that move, I'm not surprised. And here you see they got the double team action going here. Great tag team work, and it looks like they're going to take him up top. They're going for the tag team titles, Ron. We may have new tag team champions right here.
I was so worried during this match when I seen Mr. Shane get set. Oops, what happened there?
There you see, interference from the outside by Willie Shane as he trips up one of the members of Quickiemart on the outside.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's Mike Shane hitting the unbelievable finisher to win the match.
Star Stevens turning around just in time. If I didn't know better, I would swear he was a Ray Eye. I'm telling you what.
That's no Ray Eye. That's Star Stevens doing a great job refereeing once again.
And who's the little guy blowing up on the outside of the ring?
That's actually me. I was looking for the oxygen, which happened to not be... Who didn't pay the oxygen bill? Thank you, Shane Brothers. Thank you, Star Stevens. And thank you, fans of IPW, for all of the support. And there's Mike Wilson.
There he is, Mike Wilson. He's going after Todd and Mike Shane. Todd Shane can't seem to keep his hands off Mike Wilson's woman. And I tell you what, a lot goes here in IPW, but you're supposed to have respect for the boys, even if they're students. You don't go after their women like that, Ron Nemi.
Mike Wilson just come back from another of those tours. He, for some reason, always takes to Mexico, where he says, in his own words, the gas flows like water.
That's true. I tell you what, Mike Wilson, hopefully to soon make his IPW debut. But you can check out Quickiemart, the Shanes, and all the other big stars right back here. Special date. It's a Friday night, October the 12th, right here at the WrestlePlex. And fans, we're going to close it out here in just a second. But this was a great tag team match. Your winners, the Shane Brothers. For Ron Nemi, this is Aaron Royal. And you can join us here again next week on UPN 44. It's IPW Wrestling's Hardcore Recap. And let's take it out with the very popular Quickiemart. All right, fans, you've just seen that Quickiemart gave him a great run, but still your tag team champions winning the match, Mike and Todd Shane, the Shane Brothers, but Quickiemart will be back for more real soon, I guarantee you that. Fans, don't forget to join us here each and every week on UPN 44, and next week we have two independent wrestling superstars just back to IPW from Puerto Rico. He's Sean Hill, and he's taking on the Northeast independent superstar, Dr. Heresy. Catch that and much, much more with me, Aaron Royal, right back here next week on UPN 44 for IPW Hardcore Wrestling.